Hey everybody! Welcome to Yarnia. We're still pulling things together. If you joined us on Sunday, we were all ready. That's because it was Sunday morning and we were like all chill. Now it's Tuesday afternoon and it's a little more crazy. But just pulling together a couple more things. Let's see. Can you hear me okay? Everybody's volume's on? Yay, awesome, good. Thank you. Let's see. A couple of things before we get started, just about the wool walk. Hope you're all having a fun time, whether you're joining us virtually or whether you're going store to store. We met a lot of folks this weekend. It was a lot of fun. And also love seeing, you know, what folks are taking an opportunity to get on sale online at our website. It's down here, shopyarnia.com. We've got sales both in-store and online this week. We also, which I forgot to mention last time when we talked on Sunday, we also have Knit Night on Wednesday. You can go to shopyarnia.com to the calendar and events link up at the top of the page. And there's a link to register for Knit Night. As soon as you register, I mean, it's free, but you get the Zoom link. But this week, we are super excited because we have a pub quiz, a Yarnie pub quiz for Knit Night. If you've never done pub quiz before, what that means is that we have like a series of trivia questions. There's going to be 3 rounds. You answer, hey Kathleen. You answer the questions like as we ask them, and then at the end, there's a winner, yay! We're doing like a Google Sheet. I'll send out a Google Sheet or a link to the Google Sheet when we do our Zoom pub quiz so that everybody who's attending can enter. You fill out your answers as we go along the quiz. And then every entry is entered in a raffle for a prize. There's a prize. There's always a prize for pub quiz. But our prize this year is sponsored by Luca. So it's a full set of Grove interchangeable needles. And yeah, there's a set right up there.
When I grab that one.
The green one, I know. I know, right? So they were so generous. I told them we were doing pub quiz, and they sent for us to raffle off a full set of Luca interchangeable needles in their green case. So we're super excited about that.
I love that one.
Yeah. I was actually noodling over this because even like when you're regularly in pub quiz, usually it's the team that gets the most points at the end, you know, the most questions right is the winner of the prize. But like on Zoom, not that I don't trust you guys, but some people use Google and look up the answers. So we're like, how do we mitigate that? You know, like how do we make sure that it's fair?
How are you doing it? What are
so
you doing?
It's a random drawing for all the entries.
Oh, good idea. So it's just the fun of doing it.
It's the fun of playing pub quiz. But anybody who submits a Google Sheet, I'm going to do a random generator live before the end of Knit Night, and the winner of the drawing gets the prize.
Cool.
It'll be fun.
Definitely post on Instagram about that.
Yeah.
It's make a note to do that when I get home.
Yeah. Add that to your list of Kathleen's list of notes down here.
I got through a lot today. I went home for an hour between we filmed our podcast this morning.
Yes.
And then we had to work here for an hour. I went home for an hour so I could eat and whatever.
Spotlight us. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Spotlight us.
And and actually the reason I keep turning that way is our model, Haley, my daughter, who was with us on Sunday, is going to be helping us out again today. But she is actually helping me out with something else right now, which ended at 2. So it literally is about 5 minutes from here. So she'll be here any minute. So
in the meantime, we are modeling our own stuff today.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So that will happen. Get that done. Let's see. Whew, I'm already worn out. But okay, do you want to get, is there anything else we should talk about wool walking wise?
Well, let's talk about, we are, as Amanda said, we're doing promotions in store and online this week. And there's a code for online, which is?
For
online sales.
Okay, so the one for online sales is NJWW 2020. That's at the top banner when you go to Shop Yarnia. yarnia.com. It's on the top banner, so you can't forget it.
Cool.
That one is online. There is a second code for these virtual wool walk
for what
videos.
what we're just talking about here.
Yeah, and that one is Yarnia WW 2020, and I'm going to put that in the chat. I'll put that in the chat. No, why not?
Yep.
So.
And here is our model.
WW 2020. So with that code, only through our virtual wool walk, you get 20% off the yarns that we're discussing in our live sessions. So from Sunday, that was Kelborn Woolens and Northlight Fibers. And from today, it's Noro,
which we're both wearing right now.
Which we're wearing, and Manos del Uruguay. So we're super excited to share with you some of the projects that we knit ourselves and talk about those projects. And yeah, some of the, and all that kind of stuff. We can talk about the, and the fibers and like where they come from and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, so I'm just gonna let our model Haley know we're going to start with Noro. So the pile on the left there, if you want to go ahead and put on the coat. So everything's kind of piled as, you know, in the order we're going to do it, just like the other day.
Yep.
Yeah. So we've always carried Noro from the beginning.
Yeah. We started with the Crayon and Silk Garden.
Right. Exactly. And you know, I know I saw a lot of the registrations coming in. You know, a lot of folks that were joining us today are people who've been shopping with Yarnia for a long time, but you know, maybe not everyone online right now is, and also people will watch later. So we've been around for just about like 3 years and a month.
Yeah.
So, you know, so when we say from the beginning, that's what we mean. And we recently, like
not from the beginning of Noro.
No,
because that was 40 years ago.
But we recently moved to the space that we're in now about 2 months ago, and it's about triple the, you know, selling space that we had before, but it's also given us the chance to reorganize things a bit. So we now have an entire cabinet of Noro, which is so nice, you know, top to bottom Noro.
Yeah.
And we realized as we were, you know, kind of as I was laying out where things were going to go in the store, it's like, we really do love this brand.
Yeah,
you know, we've got quite a bit of it. So we're gonna go from heaviest to lightest in the ones that we're talking about.
Well, also it's a cool story. I'll talk about story a little bit because I'm the story girl.
Yeah, definitely.
So Noro is from Japan. It was made by, what's his name? It starts with an E, Noro.
Yeah.
I always forget. Isaku Noro. Yep. So he had an idea like 40 years ago to have yarns from nature. His thing is very natural.
And I do think, you know, on their tags, that's what it says, you know, from nature, or now it says the world of nature. I think they used to say from nature.
Yeah. So like he is super involved in the selection of the fibers process. All of the fibers are organic now that go into Noro yarns. And he's big on like minimally processing. He believes that like if you know, use a lot of the chemical processes and mechanical processes that go into making some yarns super soft, that it actually damages the fibers of the yarn, and you don't get like the natural feel of the wool, of the silk, of the, you know, of the bamboo or whatever other natural fibers are, you know, being used in the production of that yarn, which is a really cool philosophy. So he's had that for like 40 years.
Definitely can see that. I mean, I have Noro yarns that I bought 20 years ago. I mean, Crayon I used, you know, when I started knitting, or when I restarted knitting, and yeah, definitely, it's very classic. It hasn't really changed.
Yeah, so, and he like everything. There's still a lot of hand processing. So like all these Noro's known for like their long color changes, lots of different colors, and all those colors are like laid out by hand. The fibers are blended by hand. Like on these long tables, and then there's some processes that are mechanically done, right? Because like to manufacture yarn,
for the quantities
that he's doing,
exactly. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, but I mean, even like in you know, Crayon is like one of the most traditional Noro yarns. You know, it's single ply. There's not too much twist, you know, not too much
right.
processing
it's
to
pretty
it.
lightly plied, yeah.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
so that's like, that's a little bit of the story of Noro. Let's see. So yeah, they're all about like getting back to nature, protecting the environment, and that type of thing, which is really cool. And I think they have a very unique look, like, right? Like there's not
Definitely. Yeah, you're not going to see another yarn that looks quite like that.
Yep.
So
a little bit about Noro.
Cool, thanks. So we're going to talk about 4 different lines of Noro today, and the first is Bachi, which is what you've got on that side. You've got a basket of Bachi.
I have a basket. Oh, basket of Bachi. Yes.
So we've got, I don't know, I think 6 or 7 colors of this currently. We're just pulling a couple of them here to show you.
Yeah.
And Haley is modeling the coat so that we can
I can't hold these off.
Here, no. Yep.
So
actually,
yes,
this is the green. This is the one you'll see a wrap that I made in a little bit using this one. So this is probably the most natural. So it's interesting. It's that combination of natural and real vibrant at the same time. It's kind of the yin and yang, I guess, of you know, color stories. So
totally. Yeah, I think everything from like super bright to really chill.
And this is a bulky weight yarn. This is, and of course this is meters. It's 240 meters in 200 grams, which is about 270 yards, if I remember correctly. I do that math every now and then for somebody. And these are normally $50, but during the Wool Walk promotion, they're 20% off, so they're $40. So if you've been thinking about making a fabulous Noro garment, this would be a great time to order this from us. Yeah,
and they just started putting yarn up like this.
This is so much more attractive than
more attractive, and you get 200 grams, right? Which is just so much.
It's a lot. It's a lot of
one by itself, or you know, 2. I did a whole sweater, but we'll get to that or shortly. But we're looking at.
Let's switch over to Haley.
We're switching to Haley.
Yeah,
switching to Haley.
Who's wearing this beautiful coat. Most of the samples that you'll see today are things that we at Yarnia made, but this particular one was provided to us because we ordered a lot of Bachi and Kanzashi. So this uses 2 different Noro yarns.
Yeah. That's Noro. I'll get rid of our bottom one. Sorry.
And so in order to make this coat, you need 2 of, you know, any of the bright color combinations that we showed you. I believe 1 of the natural. It just is interspersed there a little bit. And then with your color, with your color Bachi, you also choose the complementary Kanzashi, which is a boucle yarn, which I didn't grab. Actually, I don't know, Haley, why don't you grab, they're right back there if you want to grab one of the, you know, all right on your right. Come back this way. The big silver bucket.
There you go.
Yeah. And actually, that's probably the one from that is the one that's in that coat.
That's in the coat.
So it's a boucle yarn. I'm actually really excited about, I just want to make a cowl out of this.
Store. I think it was new in 2019, but
yeah, we didn't stock it last year. We decided to go for it this year because we have been selling more and more Noro. I mean, I think we've increased our, scope with them every year. So anyway, that is a really cool garment.
No.
Oh, well, the lights. That's why the lights are. There you go.
Ta-da!
Cool.
Oh,
right.
There you go. Now Haley's not backlit. Sorry about that, guys.
So anyhow, that is the coat, and we have the pattern, complimentary with the purchase of the yarn, if you choose to buy that yarn through us. So that is quite a garment.
It's a statement piece, and it's
really
warm
is.
too, right?
Yeah, actually.
I mean, I was just outside like lifting things.
You're probably a little warm to begin with, but yeah, and actually somebody who came in and saw that in the window, we've had that in the mannequin in the window since, we put up this display, and she said, people are going to be spending a lot more time outdoors in, this fall than they do, like sitting around the fire and whatever after dinner, and this would be a great piece to throw on.
Totally.
And it would go pretty quickly. I mean, it's done on a big needle. Yeah, it's about knee length. all the way. Yeah. All right.
That's so cool.
So that is one. And then there's another piece that we made, Haley, if you want to switch to the wrap. that's in that pile.
This is a
and you can just drop the other ones
Vandie
right in the thing.
pattern.
It is, and this is another one where we, you know, free pattern with the purchase of 2 balls of Bachi, and this is
It's
the
available
colorway I
on
used.
Ravelry.
It is
too.
on Ravelry. Yep.
That's Kathleen's pattern. Vandie is Kathleen.
Yeah, my nickname is Vandie. So I did a little Etsy thing for a while, Van Designs, but this is a really fun, you know, it's like the corner to corner thing. Taking advantage of those beautiful Noro colors and the long color changes. So really fun, super easy chibi knitting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I remember as soon as we got that in the Bachi, and you're like, I have to
make something with that. It's like, and I wanted it to be bigger. I didn't want it to be, I don't know, it just called.
Very cozy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like almost like it's a socially acceptable blanket.
It is. It is. Well, it's funny. You know the way sometimes they say, like with sculpture, you know, like the sculptor finds the piece that's within the stone. I felt like when I saw this yarn, I'm like, I know what it wants to be. This is what it wants to be.
Now that's how a designer talks, Kathleen.
But I really did. I feel like I saw it and I was just like, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, okay, I know what I'm doing. And it was just a matter of
awesome.
Like testing it and writing it up. So yeah, and obviously you could do it with anyone, but I'm always all about the golds and things, and I like dark colors too. So I really felt like this colorway called to me. This one is colorway 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do have names. Like on our website, you'll see their names a lot of the time, but their labels do just number them. So
yeah. A lot of the names are in Japanese, and I don't know what they mean.
That's true. Yeah. Well, one thing we do know actually is the next one we're going to talk about in Tsubame.
Oh yeah.
So Tsubame is, I think, the spring swallow. I know it's a swallow of some sort. I remember reading that. Actually, it may be on the back of the tag. Yeah, it's somewhere. It's somewhere in all of the Noro stuff, is it? Anyway,
We read about it.
So Tsubame is put up very similar to Bachi, but it is 50% silk. Yeah, 50% silk, 25 wool, and 25 poly. And Amanda is wearing a top that she made using Tsubame.
We got this one in last spring, right? At the very end of winter. And with that 50% silk, it's about a DK weight.
Right.
So I was like, that is perfect for a transitional top, which at the time I was like, we're going to transition into summer and be like able to go outside, and little did I know all I was going to wear was tank top and sweatpants for a few months, but now I can wear my top. And
back in the store. So.
Yep. Disclaimer: I'm pregnant, so this is not necessarily
the usual fit, but
it's not the usual fit.
It fits nicely, actually. It's like
yeah. This is Lourdes by Amy Christoffers. Yeah, which it's mostly a stockinette pattern, which shows off the colors changes really well. That's what I was really looking for. Right, it was a summer top that was a little bit looser, that showed off the striping of the Tsubame, but it does have these like little drop stitch lace patterns, like
here and there.
Here, here and up here, like every 30 rows or so. So there's a little texture, a little bit interesting. But this used, I'd say, 1 1/3 skeins of Tsubame, right? Like I did the whole front side and the back like up to here.
Yeah, you weren't sure. You thought you might get the whole thing out of one at one point.
Yeah.
Well, it's 600 meters, which is quite a bit of yardage, but even so, it's a bit oversized.
This
so
fits me at 30 weeks pregnant.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
It's a boxy, really cool sweater. Or tee.
Yeah, top. So I think we have the Tsubame shawl there too, don't we?
Oh, the shawl.
Yeah, with the eyelets. So this is this was 1 skein.
Yeah, so this is, that's my notes. That's my notes on what the patterns are. But yeah, this is a different colorway, but sort of similar idea, right? Like mostly garter, no stockinette, mostly stockinette, and then it just has some eyelet rows for texture and lightness. So it's like a very similar idea to my Lourdes. I'm sort of like, what to do?
Did somebody raise their hand or something?
Nope.
I heard it.
That was my Slack because I forgot to quit it.
Okay.
So by Slack. Slack notifications. That's from insurance work.
Mhm.
It sounds like swiper no swiping every time.
Yeah, right. And then Haley's got another Tsubame piece for us. This
Yep.
is
I love this.
the Noro. I'm blanking on.
This is the
what
corner to corner wrap. No, it's not. It's the to the
That's
point.
what, to the point. I was going to say corner to corner. And I knew that wasn't right. I'm looking at it. It's
By
just telling me corners.
Drysdale.
Right, Rosemary Drysdale. It's in the Noro Blanket book, which has actually been flying out of here. We've been doing a promotion. If you spend $150 on Noro, you get a free Noro Blanket book. And we're down to very few. We definitely need to reorder. Yeah, it's been like 2 weeks and we've sold most of what we got. So
I have to say, even before we opened the store, I went to one of our suppliers. Our supplier for Noro had a Noro Curry-on blanket, the Lizard Ridge blanket.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh my goodness. And that is what sold me on we have to stock this yarn in our store. The way that this works together in a blanket, it looks so cool.
So this is made with, and Haley's holding it up like half size because it's a good size throw. I modified it a bit in that I basically just used 2 balls of Tsubame. And this one is 5 squares long and 4 wide, but it's a nice size throw. It's like perfect for the back of your sofa.
Totally.
And I made some pattern notes on it. It's in our projects in the Shop Yarnia ID on Ravelry, and kind of gave you some tips on how I did that exact one. I mean, definitely one thing when you do a project like that, one of the issues that I had was when I was doing my second strip, I didn't notice that it started exactly the same as the first strip.
Okay.
So when you're doing that kind of long color change, you want to be sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Or at least, so I spaced those apart. I made sure the third one was not exactly the same again, because the thing is, it'll be exactly the same for a while, but then it actually will eventually change because, no yarn, no matter how good the quality of the yarn is, there are breaks in manufacturing. It happens. And especially with these kind of fibers, they're such natural fibers.
Well, that's what they said. They spin in like 80 to 90 yard or meter length just because of their process. So you're gonna have a break every 80 to 90 meters because like if they're doing some hand spinning with machines, that's like all they can accommodate at one run.
So here are some of the colors. I feel like this is the easiest way to see kind of the variety of colors.
Oh yeah,
turn to
that's
the end.
The thing. Yeah, I know on our online photos it's from the front, but even from the side, like I feel like the best way to see it is knit up.
Yeah, for sure. And when we see them too, I mean, we see some skeins and things, but really what they have is like knitted swatches that try to give you a feel for what the whole thing looks like.
Whenever I'm looking for Noro, I always try to find projects on Ravelry that have like the Noro colors that I'm debating between because it's hard to see everything. I'm cooking myself. It's hard to see everything in one color, but they're so cool. Look at, what's that? At least 15.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, that was one thing that was interesting about this one, and I did the throw in color 8. This I loved because it was very sort of natural, and it just reminded me of trees and grass and the forest and everything. But then that pop of purple just sets everything off. So that's one of the things you often find with Noro. Just there'll be some little accent there that just gives it its own unique twist. So. Yeah, so that is Tsubame, and these are normally $43, also 20% off right now, so like $8-ish off. So they're 35-ish or a little below 35, 34 and change. There's a sign here. There's a sign here. I wrote the sign the other day, but yeah.
I'm not doing math in my head today.
You're doing a lot of other stuff. You're running the video. So.
Growing a human, that's enough.
That too. All right, so our next one that we're going to feature is crayon. So we have the there's a striped scarf over there. Oh yeah, you've got it. And
we've got like 25 colors of this.
Yeah, and the hat.
At least. Yeah. A lot of crayon colors are only around for one season. I can only order them for 10 months or so, and then Mr. Noro has another idea of what he wants to do, so that one's not available. There's a new one. Some are around for a long time.
Yeah, there are some, like, so you can tell by the color numbers too. Some of them are in like the double digits. Yeah. A lot of them, the new ones are in the 400s.
Yeah, like
so
this is.
It tells you how long.
And sometimes like there's lot P or something like that.
Right,
but like
it's been made for a long time.
Lot A, so that's the first time this color's been around.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah, really fun colors. So if we can flip over.
These are 100% wool.
Yes.
And a worsted weight. Did you say that?
Worsted to Aran. Like they're it's a little heavier, and it's also thick and thin, so it works up. Right. So if we can flip over to Haley, she's modeling two pieces right now. One of which, the hat I made when she was about
probably
8 years old. So and actually. That's true. But it's so interesting because look at all that orange and pink, and yeah, we have a colorway that's pretty similar to that. I don't know if that one's still around anymore.
Did you use Nora for the contrast?
No, it is. So what I would suggest out of what we're doing right now is the most similar yarn we have is Allegria, actually. It was a super wash. It's funny because I don't know why, but I did the contrast.
Maxima?
You certainly could do Maxima. Yeah, what I did. Partly it is slightly texturally different too. It's a little smoother.
It looks like it's got a chain almost too.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't think it does, but it's like it's 10 plus years old, so it's been worn a lot, that hat. But this is called the fake aisle hat, and I always think of it as the faux aisle because like fair. You can if you want. Yeah.
Now you have to.
Fair aisle and faux aisle. But basically, the nice thing is it's just two yarns. So it's one of those things where the yarn is doing all the work for you.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and it looks just as good on the other side in a way. Like if I were a tiny bit neater, you could actually wear it backwards. But yeah, so just using that color changing yarn in the background really can give you a very fun effect.
I love seeing Noro projects like this where you've got a contrast color that with the
it highlights the
totally or the reverse where you've got the Noro like there's a solid hat or something or a sweater, and then you've just got like that slow stripy thing.
I
love it so much.
Yeah, actually we're I just realized we are halfway through our time already. But if we can flip quickly back to Haley. She's wearing a sample that Jen made. As we mentioned on Sunday, our third partner Jen isn't able to be with us during the day, but she will be doing a session on Sunday that we hope you'll sign up for, doing a demonstration on circular weaving. But this is the very famous Noro, alternating stripe scarf or cowl. This one is a cowl version. It uses 4 balls of either crayon or silk garden, actually. And you basically pick colors that you like together and you just start alternating them, and you kind of see what you get. If you don't like what you're getting, you can break the yarn and start from the other end of the ball or go to another ball
I think Jen used for this one skein of solid, right? The silk garden solid. That's on the blue.
Yeah, the blue.
Maybe,
the blue
okay.
solid,
right.
and then it's that naturally fade and the rainbow fade. So it's like just three and
there is a
play together.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking, when I pulled this one, I was thinking I made a crayon one. Mine is crayon, but this one is silk garden. So actually we're into our 4th yarn that we're talking about, which is Noro Silk Garden, which looks a lot like, it looks like crayon, but it does have a fair amount of silk in it. And if I pull one up, I can tell you exactly how much that is. It is 45% silk, 45% mohair, and 10% wool. So it feels really good. It's not, to me, it's not scratchy at all. I definitely would wear it against my neck.
Oh, I do wear it.
And actually, I'm wearing it against my neck too. Yeah. So this is
speaking of wood,
one of my favorite projects that I made last year. Whoops! And I've got another alarm going off. Me with all the alarms. Pick up the CSA box, which Haley did already, right? Yay! So this is Andrea Mowry's Nightshift, one of 2 that I made, and we've got the one that Amanda made too.
Oh, you're wearing it.
Haley's wearing it. All right. So we'll show this one and then we'll flip over to Haley. So this is, I did it a little bit differently. It's supposed to be, the colors kind of change all the way through. What I did was I picked, again, sometimes the yarn comes in and I'm like, oh, I have to have that and I know what I want to do with it. So when I saw this color of Silk Garden, which this one doesn't have as much of the green, it's not really, you can't see it.
And these 50 gram skeins, you never get the whole color one. So, you know, even though this is color 252, this one is a darker version of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have as much of the limey green. It's a little bit in the middle, but.
And then I chose 3 other colors of Silk Garden Solo, which is the single color version of Silk Garden.
Same composition, single color.
Yep. To do for what I call the single dots and the double dots. So I just really, I'm really, really happy with this. I wear this all the time. I'm happy that it's cool enough to start wearing it again. Yeah. But you can do many things with a Nightshift, and we just love Silk Garden for them. So Haley's modeling Amanda's Nightshift that she made as a store sample, and eventually someday her daughter Beth will have.
Yes,
she's the NORO girl.
My college age one, Beth, saw this while I was knitting it, and she's like, "Mom, I must have it." So this will go to her eventually. But I really followed Andrea's pattern, and you know, had
the color sequencing ABC.
Exactly. Yeah. So I had 6 skeins. I think it's 6, right? That it calls for 6.
I think, you
have A, B, C, D, E, and F. You start with A and B, and then go to A and C, and then A and D. So that's just what I did here. The background actually changes a little bit. I mean, I think when I ran out of color A, I went ahead and just went to color B. You can see that's where the teal goes to the like more warms. And I sort of, you know, played with my Silk Garden as to what like had the best contrast at the time. But
exactly. One of those things with this, you always, you know, and it's easy just to like break the yarn and then pick it up again in another spot. It really is. And then you'll go back to that color. You want to be sure there's a good amount of contrast. So.
Okay, I'm going to switch back to you, Kathleen, to talk about your Silk Garden, and I'm going to get our store phone.
All right. So I loved the Nightshift so much that pretty much as soon as I finished it, I made another one inspired by our customer and my friend Karen, who is a graphic designer who's got fabulous taste. And when she did her Nightshift, she's like, I know what I want to do. I want to do, because she had seen mine with the one kind of Silk Garden, you know, color changing one as the background, and then other versions. And she said, I want to do one where it's just one color as the background. It is so beautiful. So this is mushroom as the background, and then I picked out.
You made it like bigger too.
I did. This is a little bit bigger than because it's a pretty big shawl, but I wanted a really, really big shawl. Yeah. So I did 1 extra skein each of the background and the accent. And a lot of the 2 of ours, if you look at them together, hers, I don't know, mine is a little more muted maybe. I think I really went with kind of muted colors. So it's yet another take, but it is such a fun pattern, the Nightshift. And
this is sort of what I was talking about, where you have like a solid background, you just let the color.
Yeah, let them play, exactly. Yep, and I did a lot of breaking. I mean, this had a ton of ends. I mean, you're not gonna see them because I think I did a pretty good job weaving them in, but I got to the point where it's like, all right, this is too much of one color. I'm gonna break this and throw in a little pop, like we've got the orange here and everything. So this is so fun, and I guess in our show notes we could link to the project for this, so you can see exactly what was used. I've got all my colors down there and everything.
I don't think I did that for Sundays. I didn't link to our projects. I linked to
well, most of the time they were a little more, you know, but like this one is kind of specific. If you wanted to do something just like that, you could see what we did.
Yep.
So so that is a lot of our favorites from NORO. The other brand we wanted to talk today about is Manos del Uruguay, and they are another, you know, business that we've really liked working with. Fairmount Fibers is in Philly, and they're the U.S. distributor for Manos. And one of the nice things is, you know, when we order from them, we normally get things, if not the very next day, 2 days later. Even now, even with all the shipping delays we've seen from, you know, most suppliers, and, you know, most everyone has experienced. I mean, you do something from Amazon, it's like, you're going to have your package tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes, and of course you don't have your package, and maybe you have it the next day.
Right.
But they seem to really consistently be delivering pretty quickly. So we're again going to talk about four different lines from Manos. And actually, Amanda, do you want to talk a little bit about Manos?
Sure. Yeah. I love Manos as a company. So I mean, I work in social impact insurance, or that's like what my specialty is. I love a company that like has a business, but also does really good for the world. And that's Manos del Uruguay. They were founded in 1968, so 50 years ago. That's they just had their color.
Yeah, well, 2 years at 50 was
in
2018,
which means 50. Yeah. Yeah, so they just had their 50th anniversary, but they're actually a nonprofit. Manos del Uruguay is. They have a social mission to help the women of Uruguay. So they are organized in 12 collectives throughout the country. Right, all the spinning, carding, like dyeing is done by women.
And winding. I mean,
winding,
you know,
like everything is done.
Yeah. It's one of the few yarns that we get that comes, it's not skeined up, but partly it's like they're trying to kind of conserve their resources. And, you know, since employment in a, you know, seriously underemployed area is part of their mission, they're leaving things that can be done, you know, here to the people here.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
You know, keeping it.
And each time you get a skein of Manos del Uruguay, it has the name of the town of which collective the yarn was dyed at, like produced at, and the name of the artist that who was doing the dyeing. Right, so you can really have that connection to the way that your that your yarn is made. Manos del Uruguay, like I said, they have a real social impact mission. They had the first kindergartens in Uruguay ever.
Wow. That's amazing.
To provide childcare for the women who are working in their collectives.
And education.
Yeah. And, you know, they have, of course, you know, like with any company, tenure ranges from, you know, folks who have been there just 3 years, and people who've been there 40 years. They even have a daughter whose mother worked there.
Wow.
And now the daughter works there. Yeah. So I love, you know, working with Manos. You know, certainly a way to work with beautiful yarns that I love working with just for themselves, but also know that you're having like a real impact.
Is really good.
And here in the United States, Manos del Uruguay is distributed by Fairmount Fibers,
right?
Which Lisa, what's her name? What's the last name? I'm so bad. I want to say Lisa Richardson. Is that right?
It might be.
Myers.
Oh, okay.
Lisa Myers is the owner of Fairmount Fibers out of Philadelphia. Actually, she and Courtney Kelly, who owns Kelborn Woolens, work together in the same yarn store. And that's sort of like how Courtney learned about the whole distribution business. But yeah, so Lisa distributes Fairmount in the U.S. It's a woman-owned business. And they've been distributing for Fairmount for a long time. Lisa also
for Manos.
For Manos, yes, thank you. For a long time. And Lisa also does a lot of designs. If you go on Ravelry and look for Lisa Myers designs, lots of them are free, but they're all featuring Manos del Uruguay yarns, really showing them off.
Cool.
So that's a little bit about Manos.
Nice.
Love that. So now you can see some of our projects we've done.
We're gonna try to speed through this because
Haley's putting this sweater on
so
as late as possible before I switch to her because it's very warm.
So Haley, do you remember the name of this one? Haley started making this sweater, even though she says she is not a knitter. She did it up to the underarms, right?
Yeah, I started up here, and basically I used the pattern. It starts with an M. It's like Maritime.
We'll look it up. I remember the designer is Two of Wands, I believe. Is that right? Does that sound right? Yeah. Okay.
We'll throw it in there.
But we did it. You wanted a different cable, so I designed a different cable for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the rest of the pattern, we just like inserted. It was more of like an open braid.
Right. I do like that. It's fun. Yeah. So this took like 6 skeins of Manos. This was Haley's birthday present one year. All this yarn.
Franca?
This is Franca, yes.
Cool. I have the Franca.
Amanda has the Franca. And actually we got a box just yesterday from Fairmount with more Franca, which hasn't even been opened yet. I will do that tomorrow morning probably. So this is it's really quite a warm, that was good in Montreal last year, right? You wore that like going to classes and things. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the heaviest Manos del Uruguay. It's Franca, right? Single ply, bulky
to super bulky.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
This is like I would knit on like a 13 or 15.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or whoops.
And I think we have, yeah, Haley's got a couple of hats over there too. Yeah,
They
so
have
those
really fun colors.
Those are a few colors. We have, there are speckles, and then there also are semi-solids. And that one's actually a semi-solid with speckles. Some of the newer ones are really, they're much more speckly.
It's like,
so, yeah.
Sort of solidy. This is their colors they came out with 2019?
Yeah, pretty sure it was 2019. And we did order a lot of the new ones for this year. So we will see what's in that box. Yeah.
Yay. And then, yeah, Haley has a bunch of, so I have to say, every year, starting at Thanksgiving, folks come in and they're like, I need a present.
I need
tomorrow.
A quick present. You know, yeah.
And Franca, in 2 weeks, we're like on Franca.
Yeah.
Because it is like that perfect last
super
minute.
Quick knit.
Yeah.
So the main thing on the screen right now is a double length honey cowl made out of the Midas color of Franca. So that was, you know, basically, we talked about the honey cowl on Sunday as well. It's a pattern by Antonia Shankland, who is our rep for Mad Tosh and Rowan and a few other brands. I myself have made at least 4 of them. It's such a, and it's a great advanced beginner pattern. It's, you know, when someone's like, I'm kind of sick of scarves, what do I do next? It's a great pattern to do.
Yeah.
And looks so impressive and fabulous for gifting. So you can make it in any size, you can use any weight yarn. And I thought that Franca version was really kind of fun. Then let's show the Rise and Shine hat and cowl that Jen did.
I love this hat.
This is so fun.
So cute.
This was, these were samples, store samples that Jen did last year. And basically you buy 2 skeins of Franca and you can make the hat and cowl, you know, both multicolor and sort of in reverse of each other using that. And,
yep, and those use those new colors I was talking about from 2019, right? It's the white multi speckles, and then
it's got a little bit of color in there.
Yep. And so then there's like coordinating ones that have each of those different pops of color. There's one that has pink with more of the colors, and purple with more of the colors, and orange. It's so cool.
Yeah.
They're fun to go together, and I know that's in the box.
Yeah, for sure. And then we've got kind of a very basic, you know, hat and mitts. This is, again, well, this is 1 skein of Franca. This was from a class.
The hat's 1 skein of Franca.
Well, the hat and mitts, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Woo!
That's and that's the Vandie's chunky hat and mitts pattern.
There you go.
So yeah, I did this for, you know, for teaching in class here, and just, it's, you know, super easy and great gift items. Actually, you can even, you know, make the hat for one person, make the mitts for somebody else.
Perfect.
2 gifts in 1
so
skein.
yeah, so we do free pattern with the purchase of a skein. And what we recommend for this one is you make your hat, and then you take your remaining yarn, you divide it in half, and then your mitts are going to match. Because really, you know, depending on your tension, depending on the exact thick and thinness of each skein, it may vary a little bit how much you get. But, you know, that's from 1 skein of Franca right there.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I do want Haley to put on her hat.
I should have kept on the sweater.
Yeah, except you might have passed out. Right.
Matching.
This is
the end of
the Twist of Fate beanie, which is so cute. That's a really pretty pattern.
I like that one.
Yeah, and
because it's like a cable, but you don't have to cable every round or anything like that. So,
and it's got one of our fun top pom poms also. I love that. That was a nice little addition for that.
Yeah.
All right, so so next we're going to talk about, we've got 2 worsteds from Manos, Maxima,
but
and
very different.
Audrey Grande, exactly. So Haley will go put on our Maxima sample, which is
you have the
beautiful
Maxima
sweater that Amanda made. I do have the Maxima.
I have the Allegria Grande, so I figure it's not me.
So in Maxima we have, well, let me tell you a little bit about yardage and everything on Maxima.
I like this one because there's not that many. I mean, we just talked about Noro Courier, right? But there's not that many single ply
worsteds.
So I like this one. It's different. It's cool.
So it is 100% merino. It is 219 yards in 100 gram skein. We have a lot of the tonals. We've got this super bright pink. We've got this more
speeding ticket. This one's named
and this is cactus flower. You know, so we've got some brights. We've got some more, you know, muted colors. You know, this is like a third of what was on the shelf.
And
But then
some,
we've got some of the multis, which are
handbags,
just
too.
beautiful. I love that one. Is
I
that
like this
is
one.
that chrysanthemum? No,
no,
this is chrysanthemum.
that one's chrysanthemum. This is like Midnight Garden. Or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
So pretty.
Yeah, I
So
love these.
yeah.
Oh,
I just love all those colors.
this chrysanthemum came in, and like we said, they are hand dyed. They're dyed. You know, there's like
They're batch dyed. Yeah.
Yep, and they're relatively consistent. But I feel like I don't know. Either I forgot how awesome this chrysanthemum nut is, or it's like even better than the first batch we got. But I love this batch.
It is so pretty. I know. So this would make a fabulous, you know, hat or scarf or cowl.
Sure. Oh,
Yep.
cowl would be awesome in that.
And then you did. This
and it's super
sweater.
soft. That's why I chose it for this sweater. Yay! So this is
Storm Tracker.
Thank you.
I finally remembered it.
Yeah, this is the Storm Tracker sweater. So it's actually pretty standard raglan at the top, but the sleeves are patterned. So
which is so unusual and cool. It's a really nice,
yeah,
nice
I saw this
twist on things.
I saw this pattern and I was like, oh, I love it. So this is just like 1x1 cables every 4 or 5 rows or so. And it's got a little bit of shaping on the side, but it's super cozy. It's very soft, right? It's super soft.
I wore this one time in the old store. And it's just
Yeah.
Yeah, very pretty.
But yeah, so this is one. I mean, when I'm knitting store samples, I definitely knit things that I will that I want. For myself.
Eventually, right? That eventually,
So I will take it home and wear it eventually someday. But
For
right
sure.
now, it's our Maxima store sample here. And for Haley and me to wear when it's too cold in the store.
Yeah.
I also have a Rowan alpaca soft sweater that is my go-to store cardigan.
Then our other worsted weight from Manos is Allegria Grande.
Yep.
And we have a store sample that Jen made of that also. It's the Felix cardigan. We love the Felix pattern by Amy Christoffers. That's a Felix too, yeah. And you can just slip it on over your head. You don't have to unbutton it.
So whenever somebody comes in and says, I want a superwash worsted, right? We have some superwash worsted yarn. This is one of the few that has 25% poly in it too. So it makes it really nice and durable. Good for knitting garments for those folks if you're not quite sure they're going
to take care of things.
They might throw it in the wash.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's 75% wool, 25% poly, right? And this is, you know, traditional plied worsted yarn. We have, they do come in multicolors and tonals. I think most of what we have are tonals, but you'll see what the difference is between a tonal and a solid. We took a look at Colburn wool and solids last time. And now Haley is wearing this in the coal color of, and see, this is a tonal, right? So you're getting variations in that color. That's a hand-dyed tonal, which they look solid in the skeins.
Yeah,
right?
They really do. Exactly. It's amazing how.
But as you knit them, there definitely is variations in the color, and it creates that really cool effect.
Well, that you're only going to get from a hand dye.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. You can't get that from machine-dyed yarn.
And the other thing you want to remember when you do work with
there's
something
the
like
Felix
that
little
is,
laces on the shoulder.
Yeah. Is to alternate skeins because, you know, I know when Jen made this, she definitely alternated skeins. If you don't, you may get pooling that is not so attractive. This kind of breaks up the pooling so that you get that nice kind of overall variation instead of like big patches of, you know, all dark in one area, all light in another. Yep. Which, you know, it's funny. I think I mentioned earlier, we recorded our podcast this morning. Haley was showing a sweater that she's crocheting where there's pooling, but it's really cool pooling.
It's on purpose, It's
and it's many different colors. So like to have, you know, a pop of pink, a pop of yellow, all of that, it's a positive where if you've got a tonal yarn, you definitely want it more blended the way it is here. So as Amanda said, Allegria Grande is 75 superwash merino, 25 poly. It's 197 yards per 100 gram skein. Yeah. All right, and we're doing good. And we do have time for questions, or you know, if anybody wants to say something in the chat. And we've got really one more.
I've been monitoring questions sporadically.
Cool. We've got one more to feature, and that is the fingering version of Allegria. So we've got a couple of things done in that. And I've got it over here. This we have, I think, 30 colors. We have so many colors of this. And when we, Casapinka did a couple of really nice shawl promotions early on in the pandemic to try to drive business to local yarn stores. And we put together a lot of kits for them. And so often, Alegria fingering was the one I reached for as the solid color to go with a lot of our speckles and multis and everything. So it is also 100% super, well, it's superwash merino, 75%, 25% poly, super soft. You know, totally love having it next to your skin.
This is one of my favorite shawl yarns.
It really is. It really, really is. So this is 445 yards in 100 gram skein. So you've got really nice yardage on there. And yeah, here are just a few of our colors that, that I pulled off the shelf. Again, we've got some real brights. We've got some, you know, muteds. We've got some jewel tones. You know, with 30 colors, we've got pretty much anything you might want. And we finally have a sample of the Haley's modeling that she made for us at the store. And actually, she made this really pretty much when we first opened, I think, right? Yeah. So
and it's a crochet sample too.
Yeah. So this is the Lost in Time shawl by Johanna. Remember? I don't know. We'll put a link. We'll put it in the show notes. And this uses 2 of the semi-solids of Alegria. It's the Thistle and Spirulina. And then Pindo, I think, is the multi. And I think we do still have some Pindo. We mainly stock the tonals in Alegria now because we have, you know, as we've grown, we have so many other dyers that we like for speckles and things. But this one, you know, we do still keep this in stock so that if you want to make one just like this, you can.
Some of the Bach La Jolla colors, I feel like go really well with the solid Alegrias too. The fiber is very similar. Like
I definitely paired these together for a lot of things, and also with Ancient Arts it works, and with the Mad Tosh, the Tosh sock that we have, it's compatible with a lot of those. So
I love this pattern. This is like one of my crochet inspirations. Haley's a more proficient crocheter than I am, but I think I'm getting there. I think I might be able to pull this one off soon.
You know all these stitches.
Well, okay. Have done them and know them are 2 different things.
It's only doubles and singles.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, so you've got a sample of one that mixes this.
I've got a couple of samples. This is by Jen Weissman, the Unity shawl from last holiday season. We actually had a 12 days of winter knit along last year. You know, don't want to do the Advent thing. That's 25 things you have to put together, which is a whole lot. And B, it doesn't like, it's not very,
doesn't include everybody.
It doesn't include everybody. But everybody experiences winter at the same time. So we actually started our knit along on first day of winter, right? Was that December 23rd last year, I think?
22nd, maybe? I don't know, something in that area.
And had 12 days of little gifts and things like that. And Jen Weissman, we had her Unity shawl, which was released last December. And the contrast colors are 4 different indie dyers that we had as trunk shows
last year,
during 2019. And I saved a little bits from each of those and included them in the gifts. But the white that pulls it all together, like I said, my favorite shawl yarn is the Alegria. The Alegria, the natural color. And so you can see like it really shows off that lace beautifully, and garter stitch looks fantastic, and it's just like the perfect complement, you know, in a shawl pattern like this. So I love it. It's so soft and pretty. And this was this is I did block it when I finished it, but it was very well used last year. It was the first thing I'd ever knit that actually had this like pull through, put it under your coat
long and
thing.
That's cool.
I love this pattern. And it, even if you have like little scraps or something like that, you know, from socks. One, was it 2? Yeah, you'd need 2 skeins, I think, of the white.
Yeah.
Together. Yeah, I think we had 2.
We
like
did
1 plus a little.
Yeah, we did like 1.5
Extra.
or something. We knew what the yardage was.
Yeah. So
Yep.
love this one. This is Unity by Jen Weissman. And I have one more little thing, little set, and I have to refer to my notes because it's got 3 different patterns incorporated in it.
Wow.
Well, because it's a whole baby set. So my last little boy, this is also a little boy, but my last little boy came home in this outfit, all knit out of Menos del Uruguay Alegria.
It's so pretty.
So, I love this so much. I just got it out this morning. It's so cute. Oh my goodness. So this is the Tirolchunga newborn onesie by Shaw. It's spelled S-J-H-A. And yeah, this is just like an adorable onesie.
So pretty.
And this is knit in the Stratus color of Alegria. And it's so soft. It's perfect for brand new baby. And it's such a sweet little pattern. It's got like these eyelets on it, right? I'm going backwards. These eyelets on it with little cables.
It is really beautiful.
Right, and then the garter band with the little pearl buttons. So cute. Oh. So he came home in this. Charlie came home in this, and I had enough left over of one skein after I knit this to also knit him a little bonnet and little socks. So the bonnet is Kojika by Allison McCarney, who I have knit a few of her bonnets. I really love bonnets for babies. But this is Kojika, right, which has sort of a similar look.
Yeah, definitely compatible.
I could have put the same little, cat's paws pattern in the bonnet, but I was feeling a little bit lazy, didn't feel like modifying the pattern, so I just knit as it was written. And then it
looks nice. It's fine.
I love the little decreases, spirals.
Yeah.
And then I had still enough left over.
I can't believe this is all one skein.
This is one skein.
Wow. See, that 445 yards goes far.
I know. These are the More Better Baby Socks by Ann Budd, and I did take the cat's paws and put them in at the top. Cute. And sort of like mash together a couple of those More Better Baby Sock patterns. Like she has like different designs on the cuffs. And this has like a little picot cast on and all that kind of stuff.
So we have 2
minutes. I just love this set. Sorry.
Yeah, it is beautiful. It's so pretty.
But I have a project page on my Ravelry with all that, like everything linked and all that kind of stuff that I'll put in. So
I guess actually the one thing we wanted to say is, feel free to email us, call us, order online, and join us for Knit Night.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't forget pub quiz, like a Grove set of needles as our gift, as our prize for the random winner. We'll have a lot of fun. We've already Amanda put a lot of time in, and we've kind of chimed in with some more questions, and
I've put finishing touches on that.
It's going to be fun. And actually join us any week for our Knit Night, because we love Knit Night. It's funny, originally we were so sad that we couldn't do Knit Night in person, but doing Knit Night virtually, we've met people from all different places. It's so cool. We have people, and we have people that kind of come once a month. We have people that come pretty much every week. We have, every week we have new people, and everyone is welcome. Everyone is made to feel welcome. We want everyone to be there.
Sometimes y'all have to watch me cook dinner because I'm hosting.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm the Zoom host. And
yeah, Amanda is pretty much always on. I'm usually always on, though maybe not the first few minutes because we're finishing dinner. And Jen is off and on. She was on all of last week pretty much. But it's also dinner time in her house at that point, and
it's dinner time in mine. But
you just
they
eat
when they eat. I cook when I cook.
All right, so we better go so the next group can get started. All right, but it's been great chatting with you, and we look forward to seeing you either online or in person at Yarnia.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, and thanks Haley for modeling again for us.
Yay,
all right, take care.
Thanks Haley.